Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you some games that I think get a bit too much hate, at least in my opinion. Starting off, Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. So it's kind of like Castle Crashers, but Cartoon Network style. I think a lot of the hate comes from the fact that some people say it's more of a flash game rather than like a console game. Other people would say, hey, it has no voice acting. Like, sure, I get it, voice acting, it's cooler when the games have voice acting, but then again, voice acting isn't very cheap, and the voice actors aren't always available, and sometimes you have a certain release date for the game, and you just need to get it out, and it'd be awkward to have some characters talk while others don't. So I just feel like people make voice acting too much of a big deal. Like, sure, it's a nice thing, but it's not like it's an essential. Like, it just, it's kind of like a seasoning, it helps the food taste better, but it's not like it's essential. I feel like people just take voice acting, like, make it a bit more essential than it actually is. This game has, like, characters like Finn, Uncle Grandpa, Clarence, Steven Universe, and Gumball, and Mordecai and Rigby. Basically, a lot of characters from a lot of popular cartoons, which all these cartoons aren't even running anymore, but oh well. I just think it gets a bit too much hate, because if you like Castle Crashers, but you want Cartoon Network style, here you go. Some of the characters even have their own unique attacks and abilities, and some of them even have certain weapons and abilities that can counter certain things, like Finn's giant hammer, which is Jake, can get past shields. It can break through shields. And Mordecai's, electric claw that can shoot like an electric laser can disable like electricity or electrified enemies, and so on. So, sure, it does seem a bit cheaply made to some gamers, but me personally, I don't think it's that bad of a game. I just feel like people take the whole, voice acting thing a bit too seriously. Like, sure, it's nice, but it's not essential. It's not that big of a deal. Call of Duty World War II. Here, 2 for 1. Both these Call of Duties, I think, get a bit too much hate. Sure, people aren't always on the futuristic thing, and sure, this has, like, loot boxes and stuff, but these games weren't that great when they first came out, but look on the bright side. I'm sure they've gotten better, right? They've gotten way better. Like, the whole point of these games is that if you compare them now to then, I'm sure they were, like, buggy and a bit glitchy at times, and people didn't really like them, but I've been playing them, and they seem fine. I'm sure they've improved since they first released. Sure, games should have a good release, but, as long as they can improve from their release, that's a good thing, and that's what I feel like these two games have done. And they're still Call of Duty. You can still play them and enjoy them. Like, sure, I don't think they're, like, as good as, like, other Call of Duty games, but then again, I wasn't really a Call of Duty kid. I never really played World at War or Call of Duty 1, 2, or 3, or the Big Red one, or whatever. These two, along with Warzone and the classic, like the old Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, are the only Call of Duty games I've played. I think I might have played Black Ops once, but I'm not entirely sure. But I think they're fine. The zombie mode is fine. They've improved since they first released, and me personally, I think they're fine. However, some people could say, hey, they're still not good, but they're better. Compare them now to then, they're better. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I think this game also got a bit too much backlash. Once again, same issue with the Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. Lack of voice acting. It's not essential, bro. It can still be fun. Like, it got voice acting now, but it has a decent roster. Like, it has 5 other characters, but when it first launched, it had a decent roster. SpongeBob, Patrick, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Pirate Toastman, Aang, and yeah, it had a decent roster, at least, a decent amount of maps. It didn't have, like, items that you can pick up and use to fight, and it doesn't have a campaign, but it's still a platform fighter. You like Super Smash Bros., but you want Nickelodeon? here you go. There's a second game, so that one's like, some people could argue, hey, the second one's better, but if you want to get both, why not? Plus, it has like at least 2 free DLC characters. So yes, just like with the Call of Duty games, this has gotten better since it first released. It got the content it needed, but unfortunately the game is in crossplay, and it died out really fast, unfortunately. Which is a shame, because I liked it. I enjoyed it. But, yeah. But unlike Super Smash Bros., you can get this on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. So it's, like, more accessible. Rainbow Six Extraction. Some of you have heard of Rainbow Six Siege, I'm sure. Years ago, there was like an event called like the Outbreak, where like there was like these zombie alien creatures, and you had like different objectives you could complete. But unfortunately, that game mode was only a limited time. But a few years later, it got turned into its own game, and it got not a lot. It didn't get a lot of support. It got not very many updates. And it stopped being updated after like a year. And its cancellation was actually silent, but after like a month or two, it was revealed that it was canceled, which stinks. Because I really enjoyed that Outbreak game mode in Siege, and if I heard that they were making a game about it, I would have gone crazy and begged for my brothers or like my mom or someone to buy it for me. And I think it's fun. Like, you missed the Outbreak event. This is the best you're going to get. Sure, it's not getting updated anymore, and it may not be like Siege, but Siege and Extraction are kind of different. Siege is supposed to be like, multiplayer, PvP, like cooperative, like, competitive, sort of. It's focused on PvP. This is PvE. It focuses on, like, stealth and teamwork. Well, stealth is, like, an option, but stealth is, like, a stronger weapon. If you want to go in guns blazing, go ahead. This focuses more on, like, stealth, action, and PvE, teamwork. It focuses more on, like, the PvE aspect. So I just feel like it got a bit too much hate as well, and it's a shame it's not getting updated because I was looking forward to what this game could offer. The game's still fun, but if you like Rainbow Six Siege, but you missed the Outbreak event, and you would prefer to go PvE instead of PvP, here's your best option: Rainbow Six Siege's spin-off, Extraction. And one more game, Nickelodeon Kart Racers. Same issue with these two games. Lack of voice acting. And, it's still a kart racer. It still functions. Sure, the whole, like, turning left to right control is a tad bit slow, but it's still a playable racing game. It's still fun. I actually watched a YouTuber review this game saying it's really bad. I think it was Exploding Apple. He said that it had no backwards controls. It does have backwards controls. You have to hold down the B button, and you'll go backwards. It does have 2 sequels, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 and 3, and the third one actually has voice acting, and I think a lot of people would prefer the third one. But if you want the trilogy, and the first, second, and third one, go for it, no one's stopping you. I think one thing that really turned this off is that it has no multiplayer. Like, you can't go against players, you can only go against AI. The only multiplayer you have is through split screen, and that's it. Which I can see kind of turned off some people. And the tracks are a tad bit boring, I guess. They don't have a whole lot going for them, but they do have some obstacles here and there. They're not like Mario Kart, and the items, like, copied... The items in this game kind of copied Mario Kart, but just like with Nick All-Star Brawl, if you want Mario Kart but Nickelodeon, here you go. It has a small roster, sure, but you want it, and you want the second one and third one, you can go ahead and get it. So yeah, me personally, I find these games got a bit too much hate, because some of them have improved since they've released, and others, I think people make too much of a big deal out of it. Like the lack of voice acting. But if you hate these games, that's fine, but just remember, if you want to show your hatred for these games, do it in a respectful way. And if you want to give these games a shot, you can. No one's stopping you. that's all for today's video, guys. I might do, chances are I will do another video sharing some games I think also got too much hate as well. But for now, those are like the 6 games I think just deserved better, at least in my opinion. Well, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and have a nice day.